Welcome to the IACA, where we believe in the power of informed choices. In today's special edition, we bring you face-to-face with the candidates for the upcoming IACA presidential elections. This is your opportunity to hear directly from the people who seek to represent you. Stay tuned as we explore their vision, goals, and commitment to making a difference for our community.
All right, welcome everyone to the virtual candidate question and answer. This is a reminder that this is being recorded and the video will be posted to IACA's YouTube page within the next few days. In this session, we have myself, Bria Gerstenkorn. I'm the elections chair. We have Elisa Leduc, who is our elections committee member and will be asking the questions this afternoon. And then we have our two candidates, Jonathan Sofley and Amanda Bruner. Each candidate will be provided 3 minutes to answer their questions. You'll be given a verbal cue at 2 minutes and 30 seconds, which could be me, interrupting you. And then at 30 seconds, you will be cut off and not have additional time and provided. Let's see what else. Any questions not asked during this session will be posted to the elections forum where the candidates will be able to answer their questions and even go back and answer anything that they feel like maybe they didn't have an opportunity to at that time. The recording, again, like I said, will be posted to IACA's YouTube page within the next several days. Are there any questions from the candidates before we get started? No? Okay. So at this time, I will hand it over to Ali for her questions. Ali?
Good afternoon. Welcome, everyone. I'm going to ask the first question to Amanda. Jonathan, if that's okay with you, you will answer after that. And then the next question, Jonathan, you will be able to answer first, and we'll go back and forth that way. Is that agreeable to you both?
Yes.
Yes. Great. Okay. Thank you so much. So the first question, each candidate, as Ray said, will have 3 minutes. We're asking you to just state your name, what position that you are running for, and why you're running for this position. So Amanda, if you would go first.
Thank you. So my name is Amanda Bruner, and I am currently running for president of IACA. My current position is a crime analysis advisor, also considered an embedded crime analyst with the CNA Corporation. Am I frozen?
I thought you were for a quick minute, but it looks like you're okay.
Okay, perfect. So as it relates to running for this position, I have the privilege in my current role to be able to travel full-time to a variety of different law enforcement agencies across the United States. So I work with different analysts from different backgrounds, different technology resources, and I've identified various challenges that analysts are facing across the country. So I'm very interested in running for this position to help advocate for analysts, empower analysts, and help to grow the association as we move forward.
Amanda, are you finished?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sorry. I just want to be sure before we let Jonathan go ahead. Jonathan, do you need me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
Please state your name, what position you are running for, and why.
So hi, everyone. I'm Jonathan Sofley. I go by John. I am running for the president position, obviously, here. I'm looking forward to a good campaign against Amanda. We have a lot of similar cross issues that I can't wait to see how we both look at these, because we'll definitely be looking at some the same and some differently. I work for the city of North Richland Hills for their police department. I've been working with law enforcement for 19 years, and I would like to get the position of president so that I can be a representative of our members and make their voices heard, and also working for greater transparency and just involvement. I'd like to see a way to get our members more involved in the organization. And so after spending 6 years working with TextLane doing that, I thought it was a great time to jump over to the IACA. I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So the next question, Jonathan, you will answer first. The IACA board positions are the equivalent of a part-time job. Which board members have you spoken to, if any, to get a feel for what this job really entails?
So I've actually spoken or texted all of the IACA board members that are currently in office, including the ones that are outgoing. I've also talked to several former board members as well. And just with my experience with TextLean and the amount of work that I did there, and what I've talked with Mary and Kristen and Annie and Rhonda and Rachel, I don't want to forget anybody. And like a discussion that I had with Jim Mallard this morning, I feel that I'll easily be able to carry that workload. I'm lucky to work for an organization that is very supportive of their employees being involved in organizations like this. And so I have the utmost backing for whatever I do with the IACA from my department. And so I think that's a big help as well. I think I'm done.
Thank you. Amanda, would you like the question repeated?
Yes, please.
The IACA board positions are the equivalent of a part-time job. Which board members, if any, have you spoken to get a feel for what this job really entails?
Yeah, so I have had lengthy conversations with Mary, Rachel, and Annie. I have a great relationship with Annie now that she is a Carolina gal. And I have a close working relationship with Rachel as I am currently on the membership committee for IACA. As John mentioned with his employer, I too have submitted all of my outside activities requests and have all of the permission from my employer to run for this position. And I am currently the president of the Carolinas Crime Analysis Association, but I am nearing the end of that term. So I have seen kind of somewhat firsthand the responsibilities involved with a position like this. And I too have tried to do an extensive amount of research as this campaign continues and have spoken to about 50 to 60 individuals on Zoom over the past month or so to talk about the position, to talk about the association and so forth, and have collaborated along the way with many of the IACA OGs, past board members, past presidents, and so forth. That's all.
Thank you. So question 3, Amanda, this one you can answer first. As an IACA member wanting to serve in the executive leadership, what prior experience do you have serving the international community of IACA that helps provide you the knowledge base and further understanding of how the association is run?
Thank you. So as I had mentioned, I am currently the president of the Carolinas Crime Analysis Association. I was formerly the treasurer. I am a founding board member of the CCAA, so we have grown from 0 to almost 200 members. Along the way, a lot of that has involved outreach in trying to get different speakers involved in the organization, as well as broadening the reach for international attendees. So this last year, we actually had attendees at the Carolinas conference from 4 different countries, which I think was a great boost considering we were a regional association. With that, as I also mentioned, supporting the membership committee, I do process group renewals, some of which are foreign groups and other agency organizations in other countries. And then as it was relating to preparing for this campaign, I have worked to meet with individuals from the EMEA, APAC, and LATAM regions, as well as several representatives from Canada to talk about international representation, whether that means expanding the board, working for regional contacts for training, and so forth, to talk about partnerships as it relates to regional associations of IACA and chapters. And then with that, I've also been fortunate enough to be able to present virtually at an international level for the National Crime Agency, and then we'll be also presenting for the European Association Crime Analysts within the coming weeks. So really trying to get a lot of that input from some of those international members, really talking about brainstorming ways to integrate them into the organization and ensure that their representation is included within the IACA. Obviously, the I is most important. We have an I to start with. It is international. We want to make sure members from across the globe are represented.
Thank you, Amanda. Jonathan, would you like me to repeat the question?
Yes, I think we should just repeat the question each time. It just makes it easier.
I think so. Okay. As an IACA member wanting to serve in the executive leadership, what prior experience do you have serving the international community of IACA that helps provide a knowledge base and further understanding of how the association is run?
So I am a member of the mentoring committee, and one of the things that we work on is finding mentors and mentees to go together. And I've talked with some people from other countries while working on that. Last year when I was running against Annie, I had a lot of really good conversations with several people from the international associations. Rachel and I have had some really good conversations. She knows that one of the things that I really want to see is a greater involvement of our international members. I'm really excited to see that Amanda has that same like outlook because, as she said, it's an international organization. The majority of our members may be from the Americas, but it's an international association, and we need to make sure that everybody feels involved. I did reach out to Sam at one point just to see if he was available to talk. And just within TextLane, we had scheduled for an international presenter to come up from Argentina for our conference that we had back in June, but unfortunately, due to some last minute family issues, they had to cancel on us. So we're really disappointed, but we're looking at bringing them in a webinar aspect instead. And so like it's very important to work with all of our members in general, but I definitely want to see more involvement on the international side and find a way to help them have more of an ownership into the organization. I'm done.
Thank you. Okay, so the next question. I think we answered a little bit of it, but for everybody's benefit on the recording, I am going to ask the question anyway. Jonathan, you'll answer this one first, if you would. Are you actively involved in your regional association? What does that involvement entail? And how will you manage the responsibilities between IACA and your regional association?
So I just finished at the end of June 6 years as the Vice President of Administration for TextLane. In that position, I was in charge of all the administrative aspects as well as our training. And working with my training committee, we were able to build up an amazing training program, moving from conferences, pivoting to webinars during the COVID era, continuing with webinars, and then continuing to grow our conference and our membership. And so right now, I have stepped back from the board position because we have a new board in place and I don't want to step on their toes. I want to let them grow and work. But when they reach out to me and ask me questions or for advice, I'm always available to give it to them. I had a discussion just the other day with Heather Lane, the president of TextLane now, where she had some questions that I was able to answer and help her out. And of course, anytime they need me, I'm always happy to step up and help TextLane out. I've been involved in it since pretty much its inception. And it was very hard to leave as a board member, but it was time. And I'm really glad that I did, because I think that the people who've taken my place and Alex's place are doing an amazing job in refreshing our organization. And so I'm involved in the fact that I'm a member. I assist them when they have questions, but as their former vice president, I'm not getting involved in their decisions unless they specifically ask me for advice, because I want to make sure that they grow as an organization. I'm done.
Thank you. Amanda, are you actively involved as a member of your regional association? What does that involvement entail? And how will you manage the responsibilities between IACA and the regional?
Yes, so as I had mentioned, I am the current president of the Carolinas Crime Analysis Association. When the association formed a few years ago, I did start out as treasurer, and then I ran for president 2 years ago. So as I mentioned, I am nearing the end of this term. And prior to deciding to run for this presidency, I did meet with the existing CCAA board in reference to contingency planning and so forth for what this may look like going forward. With that being said, my current responsibilities are really the strategic vision for the association. So within the last few years, we have grown our membership substantially. We have brought in internationally recognized speakers to host technical masterclasses in combination with a traditional conference program. We have instituted Power BI work group for our membership. We have changed our website. We've increased our financial standing and thus and so forth. We also became 501c3 and have been able to increase some of our finances through donations from the private sector as well. I also have some relationships with other regional associations. I am formerly a member of the Regional Associations Committee. I have presented at MACA's annual conference as well as at FCIAA. I will be attending MACA again this year as well as VCAN, and have presented virtually for the California Association, and then upcoming will also be for NORCAN. But in general, very connected at the regional level, and I really see the regional level as the best way for analysts to get involved with each other without kind of having to travel across the country once a year for the conference, being able to meet with those analysts, have that more local network, and kind of share some of those challenges and seek out advice from other analysts in their area.
Okay, the next question. Amanda, if you would answer this one first, please. Increased transparency is mentioned in both of your campaign statements, both Amanda and Jonathan. Please provide your thoughts on where transparency is lacking. What led you to that belief, and what do you plan on changing?
Thank you. Yes, so I have a 3-pillar approach that my platform is structured by, with an overarching theme of professionalism. The first pillar of this platform is transparency, that's broken down into 5 subcategories. So formal processes, implementing a standardized, transparent process for all volunteer positions within the organization. So that means knowing what positions are open for volunteers, and also having a process for individuals to submit their name forward for that. That is really driven by a lot of conversations I've had with members of the organization who aren't necessarily aware of how to get involved or what opportunities there are for involvement. The second component is about open governance, making committee charters accessible to the members and providing a clear organizational chart of volunteers. At one point, some of these were a little bit more readily available. Now a lot of things are stored kind of behind the scenes in Basecamp and so forth. And I'd like to see some of that information shared amongst the membership. The next item is in reference to accessible meeting minutes. And while there are meeting minutes taken for the board meetings, the quarterly meetings, the annual meeting that we're able to attend, I would like to see some of these posted with a little bit more speed onto the website rather than require a request from the membership. I think it's important to also understand that decisions can be made in between meetings. We need to have a way that those decisions can be documented, considering we are a 501c3 organization and are subject to reporting requirements. The next item is in reference to financial accountability, increasing the frequency and detail of financial reporting to the membership. This is heavily drawn from last year's conference that has kind of been talked about in a number of analyst circles, understanding how the association is spending money, what money is coming in, and some of those transactions at a more line item level. And then the last item is in reference to administrative support. I know there's been a variety of different discussions amongst this board and previous boards about hiring an individual to assist or leading the organization. I would be in support of hiring a nonprofit business manager, so not necessarily an analyst, but someone that has expertise in running an organization. We are nearing 7,000 members, and I see that that position would be able to help increase the efficiency of the association and kind of help streamline some of these processes. Obviously, that position would be contingent upon other funding sources or reallocation of funding, but I think together these 5 components would help increase the transparency of the organization and allow the membership to understand a little bit more of the whys behind some decisions and where the agency or where the association is striving to move toward. That's all.
Thank you, Amanda. So to repeat the question, increased transparency is mentioned in both of your campaign statements. Please provide your thoughts on where transparency is lacking, what led you to that belief, and what you plan on changing.
So first, I promise that Amanda and I did not collaborate on the transparency part. We both just have heard the same exact issues from people, which is very interesting. For me, the biggest item that really kind of triggered me for transparency was based off of last year's IACA conference. Part of it was Texleen was supposed to help co-host that conference, and a lot of the things that we were initially talked to and told ended up not happening, and things were just changed behind the scenes without any knowledge for us. And then there was the issue with the actual finances of the conference itself. I've had several very long conversations with 3 different board members about this here. And while I understand part of the reasoning for not being, I don't want to say not up front, but not bringing it up directly to the membership while they were working on, is there was a lot of moving pieces involved in it. And after I talked to those 3 board members and I understood those moving pieces, I understood why they couldn't just kind of step out and say, hey, we have this problem here. But I still felt that there might have been something that they could have put out, even if it was just something as simple as, hey, members, we're having some issues with the billing from the hotel for the last conference. We're not really sure how this is going to pan out or what's going on, but we'll keep you abreast with it. I do know that I attended as many of the board meetings that I was able to. And in at least one, I remember Mary actually talked about it as a line item to the people that were in attendance to that. So there was some transparency there, but I just kind of felt that it could be a little more. And then the same with like volunteer positions, minutes. I know that there is an issue where the old website had something that would automatically kind of put the minutes together, and now there's a backlog. I had a talk with Kristen about that just the other day, and she acknowledged that it is a struggle and they're trying to work through it and they're trying to get caught up with it. But there are areas that could be improved on. In my view, I'd like to do a strategic plan looking at the organization as a whole and have an independent committee of people not currently on IACA committees running that to look as outsiders in and find out where can we like build better transparency, or where can we build better resources for people. And
your 3 minutes is up, John. I'm sorry.
That's fine. I'm done.
Sorry, I couldn't give you I was trying to give you a 30-second warning, but you didn't have a good stopping point, so I apologize.
It's fine.
Thank you, everyone, for your understanding. Jonathan, this next question, if you could answer first. Have you sent in questions to the board ahead of time for the board meetings? And how many board meetings have you attended as an IACA member?
So I've attended every annual meeting that I've been at a conference for. So I want to say that's 5 annual meetings. And I've tried to attend, I know I've signed up for every board meeting that has been posted this year. There was the one in January that got canceled. And then there was one that I got pulled out of for, I believe, a shooting. So unfortunately, I didn't get to stay there, but I did reach out to Kristen and asked her if there was anything that was of note for that. But I think it's important to be involved in that and to try to attend if you can as a member, just so you know what's going on. You'll hear what's happening from the committees, what they have to say, what the board members have to say. And with the issue with the minutes coming out, it's a good way to stay abreast of that. I'm done.
Thank you. Amanda, have you sent in questions to the board ahead of any of the board meetings? And how many board meetings have you attended as a member?
Yeah, so I have attended in-person meetings, the annual meetings, as part of some of the conferences I have attended. Last year, unfortunately, I wasn't able to join because I had a flight to catch. I know that itself has been kind of a talking point, the timing of the business meeting. Currently, that is at the end of the conference week, that we may see additional attendance should that be moved earlier in the week. In addition to that, I have attended probably the vast majority of the virtual meetings, some of those quarterly meetings over the last few years. I haven't necessarily sent in questions prior to the meeting, but I have at times messaged in the chat for clarification. Most recently, my colleague and I put in a question about some of the finances and so forth. But then oftentimes having conversations kind of this side, whether it's reaching out to a committee chair, whether it's reaching out to a board member kind of individually with some of those ad hoc questions, as I notice things that come out from the association as well as upcoming events. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Amanda, you're going to answer this next question first, please. Both candidates have served on IACA committees. Given everything that can be improved, what suggestions have you made regarding internal processes on your committee, and what was the outcome?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, I currently serve on the membership committee. So it is a small group of us, but we are mighty and we process lots of memberships. But one of the things that we are currently in the process of exploring, I've had a number of conversations with other leaders from regional associations, as with Rachel, as with some of the other members on the membership committee, about the process in which regional associations membership renewals coincide with IACA renewals. So as it stands, if you are a regional association member that is a true regional association of IACA, you have to go to your regional association website, you sign up there and you pay your regional association. From there, the regional association then pays IACA once we process an invoice. And then your membership is activated at the international level. I have kind of discussed, and we've kind of had some internal conversations about, could we flip that process, or could we have an alternative option where if you went onto the IACA website and you wanted to join both IACA and the Carolinas at the same time, you might be able to select that and also have same day access. So for example, when we're coming up on the conference, it is something that we will see requests from individuals writing in saying, hey, I just purchased my membership through so-and-so, but my IACA account isn't up yet. There is somewhat of a delay in just how it gets processed at the regional. It gets sent on to membership. We process the groups, then they get added, and then the accounts are activated. That's not necessarily the most streamlined it could be. We don't necessarily have some of those automated workflows in place. So there's still a lot of discussion behind the scenes. Different regionals have different vetting criteria for their membership that have to be taken into consideration. But that is one specific internal process that I'm very interested in. Right now, IACA has a number of outstanding invoices that are sent to the members, to the regional associations. And I think we might be able to kind of streamline the financial component, as well as reduce the amount of time it takes for a member to join a regional and then have their IACA account also activated. Thank you.
Thank you. Jonathan.
So I am on the mentoring committee. Like I said, I believe it is a party of 4 of us. Right before I joined up with it, they did start a large transaction to change how the mentoring would work, how people would sign up for it, how they get assigned to it. And we've done a really good job working on it that way. The one thing that I've talked with Mike Jackson about is that we get an awful lot of people who they sign up, but they don't really need a mentor, and they don't need a full mentoring program. They just need somebody who they can have 1 or 2 discussions with, or they just need advice. And so one of the things that I would like to see, and I know Mary definitely would like to see it, is to find a way that we can work with that in our mentoring program, because we don't want to assign somebody to be a mentor to someone who only wants to have 1 or 2 conversations for something. So one thing that I want to look at is, what can we do for that? How can we help our students more? Is it maybe we set up a student mentoring program that's separate from the existing mentoring program, which is really designed more for working professionals, something that they can reach out to, or maybe it's just we add something to the forums where students or other people wanting advice on getting into the field can post something out there, and people can just chime in and give advice and reach out to people. So that's one thing that like I've talked about and I've discussed, and I'd really like to see happen, because I've talked to a lot of students, and there's a couple that I keep in contact with because I know they're looking for jobs. I know that they have questions. I'm like, hey, reach out to me anytime. I have my own mentee who is local to the DFW area, and she's new into the role, and she's just waiting for her replacement in her old position to like get in there. So I reach out to her and check with her. So just finding ways to make it a better program and reach out to more of our members, including more international members, and linking them together for assistance. I'm done.
Thank you. I'm coming up on the last question that we had. So if anybody has any of our participants who are listening, if you want to put any questions in the chat, please do so. Jonathan, you'll answer this question first, please. Do you feel that IACA is lacking legitimacy? And if so, how?
I wouldn't say that we're lacking legitimacy. I would just say that maybe we have grown faster than we were prepared for. And my hope is that the existing board members and the existing committee members, anywhere where we've seen some sort of bump in the road, are learning from the mistakes that happen and finding ways that we can fix it or improve it. Let's say like on the elections committee, let's say that there's a rule that we realize it didn't really work out very well for us this year. Did we learn that it's something that we shouldn't do, or should we redo it? Not that the election committee's given a bad rule. It's just y'all are here, so it's an easy example. But did we learn from what we did? Like last year, I know there was kind of a little kerfluffle. We had 3 candidates running, and the bylaws said that we should have done the ranked voting to start with, but it didn't do ranked voting. And so we had to do basically, I called it election 2.0 to kind of fix that issue. My hope is that we learn from that mistake. And by learning from those mistakes, anything that might make someone think that it's not legitimate fixes that, because we're like, hey, we're living learning. Just like if you make a mistake at work, if you own up to it, you learn from it, you move on, you keep your legitimacy. I'm done.
Thank you. Amanda, do you feel that IACA is lacking legitimacy? And if so, how?
So I would say that this is a little bit of a broader conversation beyond IACA and relates a little bit more to the field of crime and intelligence analysis in and of itself. So in that circumstance, I would say that we do lack a level of legitimacy that we could work toward and improve, in the sense that sometimes crime analysis is still not recognized as its own profession, right? So the association has worked to grow this large membership. We see more analysts and agencies around the world, but how do we continue to grow that? And I think that you can see differences between public and private sector and where data analysts are at as a whole. In general, many of our trainings, we're still working in Excel, whereas that's not necessarily a bad thing, but the private sector has more money, they have more training, they have more opportunities for growth. But how are we keeping up with technology? How are we advocating for crime analysis at a larger role? And I think that that also kind of talks about IACA's role as an association, right? So how can IACA advocate for analysts? How can we talk about analyst wellness? How can we talk about emerging topics like AI, things like that? How do we bridge that gap where some other associations may be kind of seen as the premier? So we always talk about IACP as the premier chief of police association. IACA has that, but to a certain degree, how do we keep growing that? So I wouldn't necessarily say it's a lack, but I think that there is definitely room for improving the legitimacy of the association as well as the profession as the whole. And I think IACA is truly the vehicle to help improve the legitimacy of the career. That's all.
Thank you. I did have 2 questions come up into the chat. So if you'll bear with me for just 1 minute, I think we have enough time to try and answer them. Jonathan, since you went first on the last one, I'm going to address it to Amanda first. Forgive me, I don't have 2 screens and I'm really wishing I did right now. Okay, Amanda, would you make any changes to the training IACA offers as it stands now? If so, what are some examples?
Yes and no. Again, I want to build on what the association already has available. But within that, I do want to focus on skill pathways. So developing clear learning pathways for analysts at all levels. So beginner, intermediate, and advanced. I would like to see the conference start to have an advanced track. So we have analysts that have decades of experience coming back. We oftentimes see a lot of new first-time attendees at the conference. And I'd like to have some of those course offerings be elevated to help bring some of those individuals back that may have more years of experience or a higher technical background. In addition, I'd also like to expand upon some of the technical training and also bring in critical thinking, problem solving, leadership, public speaking. We can be great analysts, but if we're not able to communicate our analysis to command staff in a ComStat meeting, in a StatTrax meeting, whatever it may be, then it's ultimately not going to be used. How can we be more than analysts? How can we be problem solvers? I'd also like to explore potentially moving toward a technical certification that emphasizes practical applications and real world scenarios, building on the existing CLIA exam. So this might be something separate. It could be an add-on. It could be an emphasis. I'm open to a variety of discussion about it. And actually had a wonderful conversation with Kyle Stoker about this, about how we already have the I2 Analyst Notebook certification. Training is moving toward having some of those available for maybe Power BI, ArcGIS, whatever it may be. And again, I'd like to see analysts be able to show on paper that they've been able to apply these skills, take that back to an agency, and be able to actually implement what they learned. Furthermore, I'd like to see some additional partnerships between the public and private sector. So bringing in speakers from Google Law Enforcement Center, bringing in speakers from OpenAI, really trying to leverage some of those contacts in the broader analytical space to help elevate our training forward. And then again, I would also like to really emphasize regional contacts around the international level. There's a difference in the training requests that those international members have than maybe a standard US analyst may have based on data policy, data laws, and so forth. And I think that it's important that we start offering some of those training that are tailored to different regions. Now that could be IACA or it could be a partnership with a regional or a chapter, but leveraging some of those contacts to make sure that analysts from around the world are getting training that's relevant to their role. That's all.
Thank you, Amanda. Jonathan, I'm going to read that question to you one more time. Would you make any changes to the training IACA offers as it stands now? If so, what are some examples?
So I'll start by saying that I think Kyle has done an amazing job with the training program that the IACA has. And there's always room for improvement in training. There's always room for improvement. I actually very much agree with a lot of what Amanda said. Those were some great points. One thing that I talked to Rachel about specifically is the issue with getting an international symposium put together, which is great training for international members. One of the solutions that I talked to her about is partnering with universities. And Amanda should love that because I know that partnering with academia is one of the things that she is passionate about as well. But with TextLean, we partner with universities so that we can have our conferences. It helps lower the cost of our conferences. It helps us bring them into areas that are central to our members so that they can easily get there. And it allows us to bring academics in to talk about the research that they're doing. Maybe not something that's practical for an analyst to start with right away, but something that is the future that we can look forward to and see. I've also talked with Alex from the certification committee. I've always had a lot of issues kind of with the certification committee, not the committee itself, but the process. And I'm really happy with a lot of the changes that they made, but I'd like to see maybe kind of like a badge type program or like a little mini certificate where maybe, yeah, let's say cell phone analysis is part of the certification process. I know it's not, but not every analyst has the ability to do that. I work for an agency where my detectives are required to do it because my agency doesn't want me to do it. They want them to do it because they're the ones going to court. So that's something I would never be able to really invest the time and effort into learning, especially at this point in my career, because it's a skill that I don't need. And if it's part of that certification and I can't pass that, that makes it something that I can't pass. But if it's a standalone, maybe I'm really good at that. Maybe I can get like a little IACA certified cell phone analysis badge that I can like pop up on my profile and put in my email thing. And people know, hey, this person is certified by this organization and this one small thing here. Very similar to what Amanda was saying. So like I said before, we have a lot of similarities. It's just we differ a little bit in how we see it. I'm finished because I know we need to move to the next comment.
Thank you. I appreciate your time. So I am going to, and for the membership that is listening, anything that we do not get to in this live session, we will post these questions to the elections forum so that each of the candidates has a chance to respond there. So one of the questions that has popped up in the chat, what is your professional background? Excuse me. What is your professional background? Jonathan, if you would take that one, please.
Yeah, so I have 19 years boots on the ground working in law enforcement. I started with the Austin Police Department. I then spent over a decade with the Dallas Independent School District Police Department, working with juveniles and juvenile crime. And then I moved back to a municipality, to the City of North Richland Hills Police Department in 2021, which allowed me to really get back to my passion and just doing pure crime analysis versus a lot more of the administrative work and the juvenile work and working more with adults. I'm also the former Vice President of Administration of TextLane. I was in charge of our training program. When I left, our training program had left us a very hefty bank account. And so I know that I've left them in a really great position and place. And over the 19 years that I've been in law enforcement, I've made some really good contacts all around the world. So when my detectives need something from, say, California, I know someone in California that I can call. I might not know the right person, but I know someone who knows someone, and then I get to where I need to be. I've been able to utilize that to get things from the United Kingdom before. And if it wasn't for me being in the IACA, then I wouldn't have those contacts. So that's my answer.
Thank you so much. Amanda, this question is from the membership. What is your professional background?
Yes, so I actually graduated with both a bachelor's degree in criminal justice as well as a master's in law enforcement intelligence analysis from Michigan State University. From there, I went on to be a part-time crime and intelligence analyst with the Michigan State University Police Department. After that, I was a corporate intelligence specialist for Bank of America, supporting the research and event monitoring team. So that was a heavily open source position working with international partners. So we were the US-based team, but the other members of our team were all located in different regions of the world. And so I actually did a lot of work on events in Asia at the time. From there, I transitioned over to the Matthews Police Department, which is a suburb of Charlotte, North Carolina, and I served as their first crime analyst, and started up their crime analysis unit. During my tenure there, we rolled out the stratified policing model and created a variety of different problem-solving projects based on the SARA model. Most recently, a few years ago, I transitioned to the CNA Corporation. And just for those of you that may not know what CNA is, it is a nonprofit organization based in Arlington, Virginia, that does a variety of different grant administration. So I support the Crime Analyst in Residence Program, Project Safe Neighborhoods, and Public Safety Partnership, which are all federally funded by the Bureau of Justice Assistance within the United States Department of Justice. So my current role is essentially to travel to different agencies every week, providing training and technical assistance specific to crime analysis. These agencies range from small and mid-sized departments to large urban organizations, and basically range just about everywhere, anywhere from the U.S. Virgin Islands all the way out to California and so forth. So my primary role is to go out, assess agencies' analytical processes, develop project plans of how they can improve, and then provide training to crime analysts as well as command staff about how they can integrate analysis further into the organization, as well as technical training. So this ranges from setting up Power BI dashboards, building ArcGIS models, producing bulletin repositories, just about anything to grow analytical capacity across the nation through these different grant programs. Outside of my primary responsibilities, I'm also an adjunct instructor for crime analysis for the Radford University, as well as the University of North Carolina at Charlotte. So at both of those universities, I teach undergraduate and graduate courses online for crime analysis. Some of those are synchronous, others are asynchronous. And I previously was an instructor for the University of North Carolina or the University of South Carolina Upstate as part of the Upstate Crime Analysis Center.
Thank you both. Everyone, appreciate your time. As I did mention, the other question that's in the chat, we are going to post to the elections forum and allow the candidates to answer that there. We want to thank everyone for your time. At this point, we're going to end the question and answer sessions. Everyone can breathe a sigh of relief. We look forward to having this run at the conference on a loop so that everyone will have a chance to review it, and it will also be posted on the IACA website. Do either of you have any questions at this point? No, thank you.
I just have a quick statement. I would like to thank everybody who showed up today and provided questions. And I want to thank the Elections Committee for putting this on. And Amanda, thank you for running for the president position. It's exciting to see other people with interest, and I wish you the best of luck in this election. And good luck next week. Think of me. Unfortunately, I will not be there.
Thank you, Jonathan. Okay, well, I thank you both. And we will be getting this up on the website as soon as we can. Have a wonderful day, and thank you everyone for your participation.
Thank you for watching this important discussion with our election candidates. At the IACA, we encourage you to stay engaged, stay informed, and most importantly, exercise your right to vote. Your voice matters, and together, we shape our future.